Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. Here are your hosts, Oswin and Lord Knight. So the topic for today is burnout.
All right.
What exactly is burnout when it comes to paganism?
Or spiritual burnout?
Or spiritual burnout?
Well, my understanding is that you're just too overwhelmed with everything. It's too much. You've done it for too long. It's stale, not fresh.
Okay.
It is what I'm gathering, that you just don't want to deal with it.
You just feel like could it be something along the lines of you just feel like you're in a rut?
Maybe.
Where you just feel like you're repeating stuff and you're not really getting anything out of it?
Oh, us and paganism? Repeat shit? No, never.
I just meant to the point where you're not getting anything out of it.
Guess it could happen.
Okay.
This is a concept that just baffles me, because the only time I've ever gotten burnout or something like that, it was my job.
Right.
You know, you get burnt out from your job because you have to do it. You don't necessarily want to do it, but you got to do it, and you got to force yourself to do it sometimes. I'm sorry, if you're living a spiritual life, a religious and spiritual life, what do you get burnt out for? It's your life. How do you get burnt out from your life?
Well, I mean, I don't get burned out necessarily spiritually.
Well,
I get burned out mentally.
Well, yeah. I mean, everybody does. You have to take a break from thinking.
Right.
You know. So don't have a problem with you taking a break from thinking, and it's called meditation.
Right.
No, I couldn't. I couldn't resist.
I was going to say, there's something we haven't heard in a while.
But let me be a little bit of an ass here.
Go for it.
All right. I have never seen Ben Shapiro get on TV going, hey, you know what? I'm burnt out being a Jew. I'm just not going to wear this yarmulke anymore.
Right.
I've never seen any of these other religious people get, I'm burnt out being a Christian. I'm done.
Right.
Never the words ever came out of fucking Billy Graham's mouth.
Oh, no.
So why is it that the witch community seems to get burnt out? Could it be that these people that get burnt out are getting burnt out because it's their job? Well, it's not their life. It's not their spirituality. It's a job. It is something to do. It is something to make money. They have to force themselves to do it.
Right. That's what I was going to say. For them, it's not a spiritual thing.
No.
If it was, I don't think there would be that burnout.
I'm sorry. This is the way I live my life. This is what I am. This is who I am.
I mean, we've been a part of this for 30 years now.
Or longer. I am sorry. I have never heard Lady Maya call anybody up or anything like that and go, you know what? I'm burnt out being a freaking high priestess.
Right.
It's these people who want to treat it like a job and not their life. They haven't integrated into their life. It hasn't become their life. So
right.
Of course they're going to get burnt out on it because they're too busy trying to make it a job.
Well, and I'll admit, when we first started this coven, it was not easy.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of things we had to get used to.
Yeah.
And we had some support, but we didn't have a whole lot of support.
And don't get me wrong. I remember the days of sitting there at a desk about to rip my freaking hair out.
Right. So, I mean, there are things, we're not saying.
There's not frustration or aggravation, but at no time.
Right. At no time did we just say, fuck it off.
Fuck it. Close the door, screw it. Fuck everybody in the whole entire world.
Right.
I mean, yes. Have I had to leave a temple because of job and money and blah, blah, blah? Yes.
Right.
But this wasn't because I was, quote unquote, burnt out from the religion.
Well, no. And even then the doors didn't close.
No.
I mean, there were still people to run it.
Exactly. Because you know what? The laws tell us that.
And we were still a part of it. I mean, we still supported.
Still there.
You know, we still made the trip down for the
when we
Sabbats.
could. Yeah.
For the major Sabbats.
When we could. We were only a phone call away. But again, at no time did I ever feel like I was burnt out.
No.
And again, I think the problem is that it's the mindset that these people have. They want to treat it more as a job.
Right.
That's like doing these quote unquote daily devotional stuff. And I have repeatedly gone back and said, the only thing that is required that I know of is meditation.
Right. A daily meditation.
You do not have to do cards. You don't have to do all this stuff. Yes, if you're following a part of a tradition and they required it, that's what in the world you're getting yourself into. You knew that to start off with.
Well, and then too.
I mean, that's like sitting there and complaining about, having to kill animals. But hey, you know what? You got a job in a slaughtering house.
Well, but I was going to say, if you want to use those tarot cards as part of your meditation,
go for it.
Draw a card, meditate on it.
Life goes on.
If you want to do that as your meditation, that's fine. But that daily draw is not.
No. But here's what I hear. The majority of these people going, oh, no. And then I got to do all this. So we got to quit doing all this. We got to quit doing the meditations and all this other stuff because we're burnt out.
Right.
And all these people, especially all these highfalutin people out there with all these mega people on their channels, they're treating this as a job. It's not their life. They're not giving you spirituality. They're just giving you whatever next fad comes on so they can make money. I have known pastors and religious people my whole entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And at no point did I ever hear Grandma Moses ever go, hey, you know what? I just don't want to go to church anymore.
Right.
My grandmother listened to her pastor on the radio.
Yep.
And still went on Sundays until they couldn't drive anymore. At no point did I ever hear my grandma go, you know what? I'm just burnt out on religion.
No, I mean, even when my mom couldn't go to church anymore, she still watched on TV or she listened on the radio.
Well, like growing up, I remember my mom had to work every other Saturday. And normally the Saturday she didn't work, she wouldn't go to church because she was tired.
Right. She needed a day off.
She needed a day off. It wasn't that she didn't want to go to church. It's just she was physically tired. She was burnt out from her job.
Right.
Not from going to church.
Right. And she needed that day of rest.
She needed that day of rest. It didn't stop her from reading the Bible. It didn't stop her from, getting up at some point and listening to whatever televangelist was on TV.
Or stopping to say a prayer.
Or anything like that.
Or whatever was part of her spiritual life.
So I have to question those who say this. I would have to start questioning these people.
Well, and then too, I would say, if you think you're experiencing burnout and you think of yourself as a spiritual person and you think it might be quote unquote burnout, meditate. That should be your go-to.
It should be.
That should be your respite.
Well, I mean, I remember we used to have this first degree priestess. And her whole entire, anytime anybody asked her for any questions or anything, meditate 2 days and call me in the morning.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That was her answer for everything. Anybody asked her, you meditate on that for 2 days, then come back and talk to me.
Then you come back and tell me what kind of answers you got.
Right.
Then we'll talk.
You tell me what you think first. This is my problem with these people going around saying they're burnout. Because again, I'm back to when I sit here and I look at these high-profile people that are very religious. People like Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, and all these. I have never seen them get out and going, hey, you know what? I'm a little tired of going to, mass on Sundays.
No. I have heard them. You know what? I haven't posted anything in a few days. I just needed some time off.
Yeah.
Okay. They never said anything about time off from their religion.
No. They needed time away from their job.
Right.
Or posting on social media.
Right.
Because again, we're back to, hey, some religious people actually understand how in the hell to get to the root of the real problem.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, Do something creative like fix the damn problem. No, here, let's cast yet another spell. And another spell. And another spell. And another.
That's like putting a Band-Aid on a gaping wound.
Well, to me, this is like drilling a hole to let the water out that's coming in a boat.
Right.
You got to start asking yourself these questions. Why are you really burnt out? Answer that question. Quit telling us that you're burnt out. Why? What have you done? Seriously, what have you actually done? Oh, you read a book. Oh, big fucking deal. What? It's not that hard anymore.
No.
So I think that's all I got to say on this.
I think I've said all I've got to say. Ready for the next topic?
Sure.
All right. This is a topic from a listener who wanted to know, what are our thoughts on skyclad rituals?
Are you going to tell me who it is so I know how to answer it? If you want to do your rituals nude, go for it. I'm just saying, but if you're doing open rituals or public rituals nude, place, time, that's...
Yeah, in my opinion, okay, for like personal rituals, that's fine. Coven rituals, it has its place. Public rituals, no.
I mean,
simply because, I'm just thinking, even within a coven, you've got to have, it takes a certain amount of trust and being comfortable. I have heard from a Gardnerian who says that's part of the process, is breaking free of being uncomfortable.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I believe in the whole be naked in your rights and, that all actions of, to be free.
Right. You shall be free from slavery, and as a sign of your freedom, you may be naked in your rights.
See, my point there is what do you mean by naked as far as that goes? Are you naked in your defenses and vulnerability in circle?
Right, but for a lot of people,
but
being like not clothed,
I understand that, but
is that vulnerability,
right? But I mean, just because you're naked, and I can understand using that as a process to break down the psychological barriers that we have. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But to me, it's the psychological barriers that are more important than actually being naked in your right.
So, in other words, if you can find another way to break down that barrier,
go for it.
Then that might be a better choice.
Might be,
as opposed to just jumping in and being skyclad.
I mean, if you want to do it, again, I'm back to you do you, boo.
So yeah, we personally have done skyclad rituals.
Right. I'm non-safe fair. I don't know how to say that. The reason I'm so flippant about it is, to me, it's not
a necessary element.
It's not right. It's not necessarily necessary, because I have to question, is it not more to be naked is in you get my raw emotions in circles, you get the raw me, and not some facade or anything like that. And again, like I said, I can understand the removing of clothing to help facilitate that mentally.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. This part I understand, and some people need to go through that. But on the other hand, some people don't. So it's one of them things. It's kind of however your group wants to go. Right.
And I know I mentioned trust earlier, and for a lot of traditionalists, they're going to say, well, that's, we step into circle in perfect love and perfect trust.
Right.
And yeah, we do. I guess what I mean by that is,
well, I mean, that trust, being naked in your rights is a trust, but so is being clothed, because you know what? It's going to be that person standing beside you to make sure that your sleeve doesn't get caught on fire off that damn altar candle.
Right.
I mean, but you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That same amount of trust is there regardless.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for a lot of people, the whole being naked in front of other people takes a different type of trust for some folks.
I can't say that.
But
in our tradition, we normally wear robes.
Yes.
Especially when we're doing rituals and blah, blah, blah. If I'm doing my personal rituals, I'll wear whatever in the hell I want.
Right.
It's my personal ritual, and I would say the same to anybody else. If you want to do it naked, fine. You know, if you want to do it in a stripper outfit on a pole, I don't care.
Right.
But the question you have there is, it's about trust. Do you see what I'm saying? One trust is just as important as another one.
Sure. Yeah. We've pretty much experienced it, not in a coven setting.
Well, I mean, we're bad about changing in front of each other.
Right.
You know.
So really, what's the difference?
Right. It wasn't like, when we're at Temple, we have a girls' locker room and a boys' locker room. We just have it's normally at somebody's house, and whatever bedroom happens to be available is where majority of us change.
Right. And for a lot of us, we have no qualms about changing in front of the other sex.
No.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
You're there to change your robes and not...
Right. So again, what's the difference?
Yeah, not Googling at other people. I mean, and again, I can see where in the world this thought can be extended into circle. You're there for the ritual, not to Google at other people.
Right. I think it can, though. I think it can add a certain element to a ritual.
Well, I worry about, especially for guys, because I know how us guys are, that first time doing it.
Yeah. But again,
if they're going to do it, just somebody look at them going, yeah, we realize what's going to happen. Nobody's going to make fun of you if you stand at attention.
Right. That's what I was getting ready to say. I mean, everybody knows this happens.
It happens. Life goes on.
And let's face it, there is a certain amount of sexual energy inside of circle anyway.
To begin with.
So, I mean, what's the big deal?
What's the big deal? I mean, I hate to be this way. People trust me to put a blade to their throats.
Yeah.
Well, how much more trust do you have to show? You see what I'm saying? This is why I'm kind of flimsy on the whole clothing.
I do think that if you're gonna do it in a group, you kind of need to know these people. You need to have some relationship with them.
Yeah.
You need to have some sort of trust with them. And you also need to realize that I think in that kind of case, nobody's really going to judge you if you're fat or if you're too skinny or if you've got a little one or a big one or if your tits sag. I don't think anybody's going to judge you because they've all been in that same situation. Especially if it's your first time doing it with someone.
For me, I mean, first time I went to a nudist camp or anything like this, you start to worry at first of all about, the whole junior high thing when you're first thrown into a locker room and
right.
Yeah, especially to be like a little gay kid, you're like sitting back going, oh no, I can't look.
Right.
Change your clothes, get the hell out. Right. Do what you got to do fast.
Right.
Make it an Olympic sport.
and time.
Like I said, I understand this, but for those who want to be naked in their rights and you are part of a coven and it's a mixed bag and you're the only one doing it, could you be making other people feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, you could. I mean, I think in a case like that, it's either all or nothing. Either everybody does it or nobody does it.
Right. And like I said, in our tradition, majority of times we wear robes. We don't even think twice about it. You know?
I mean, a lot of times we're naked under the robes, but
then on the other hand, we're in the same rooms changing clothes.
So again, there really is no difference.
There's really no difference there. And again, I'm back to, hey, if you're going to trust me to hold a blade to your throat before you come in the circle,
right?
You wouldn't trust me to change clothes in front of me that I can't control myself.
Or you wouldn't trust me inside of a circle beside somebody or across from somebody and not control myself.
And not be able to control myself. Here's a problem I see, and it's in the community at large that we live in society, is that there are people out there who actually honestly believe that if a woman wears too much of a cut, too short of a skirt or something, somehow the majority of guys can no longer control their impulses enough to go, yeah, okay, whatever.
Well, and there's still such a stigma on nudity or showing too much skin or whatever the case may be. There's still a stigma on it, and people are not comfortable with that. But that's only in the U.S. I know in other countries, in the U.K., Germany,
Well, see, I can't say nothing.
there's not that big of an issue.
I remember going around, and of course, my grandmother was a mountain lady. That's where her family's from.
Right.
All right. You know, the 6 foot something should have gave it away.
Right? The linebacker shoulders.
You know, I remember being over there as a kid and her going around, her words, not mine, wearing her brassiere with just a towel to
Right.
cover her cleavage,
Right.
to be kind of modest while I was there. I never really thought anything about this.
No.
Even if she didn't, where I would not think, I mean, it's my grandmother. You don't think about your grandmother in those terms.
No, you don't.
You know, in a house with no air conditioning whatsoever, only fans and stuff. People,
Right. And chances are you were running around half naked too. So, I mean.
well, I mean, according to all the pictures I've seen of me growing up from the ages of 0 to like 5, I think the only thing I ever wore was jockey shorts. Nothing else, no
Right?
t-shirts, no shoes, no socks, just jockey
Not
shorts.
unless you're going out somewhere. If you're at home, that shit comes off. There's a lot of kids that are like that.
You know,
But still.
let the kids be the kids. And, you know, like I said, as far as this goes on ritual, that's up to you and your group.
Right.
I'm not going to sit there and...
But I think it needs to be a mutual decision.
Right. I mean, because I would not want people there in robes and, you know, half the people naked and they don't feel comfortable either.
Right. And I'll say this too. If you're looking at covens, if you're somebody who's looking to join a coven, that needs to be something you need to look at, because there are covens and that's all they do is skyclad rituals.
And you need to ask to begin with.
And yeah, that'll save you some time.
I
mean, if
that should be at the top of your list.
if that's an issue for you, it'll save you a lot of time. It'll save a lot of effort.
And that's about all I got to say about it.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, I mean,
it's your choice.
Y'all need to work that out amongst yourselves. I'm not going to sit there on one side of the fence or the other.
Right.
All right. I mean, either way, I still think that trust needs to be there.
Right. And
I
in my opinion, if
And
you're
how you get there is your temple coven's business, not
Right.
anybody else's.
Right. If you're inside circle, you shouldn't be there if you don't trust me,
Exactly.
regardless if we're closed or not. So if you don't have that trust, don't even bother.
You know, and if you don't want to necessarily wear a robe, then don't. I mean, like I said, the majority of times we do. It's just,
But don't be the only one not wearing one.
just
Be courteous to others, you know.
what is that? It's always the people that shouldn't get undressed that are the first to take off their clothes.
I'm among those people.
I'm not about 2 steps behind you. If I was to visit a temple and they did it, I'd probably, whatever, you know.
And I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Okay. Where you want me to put my anthem? I'm just asking.
Right. Hmm? Can I at least wear my cords?
I mean, I have questions on that, but that's...
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning